So today is day 87 and I just had a nap and then I woke up really pissed off and just feeling really heavy and angry. And it was interesting because I had a conversation with a friend of mine today and we were talking about anger and how anger can be really healthy, and anger is something that we feel. It's a natural emotion that we feel, and it's there for a purpose. And often people can feel they get embarrassed, or it's taboo, or they don't want to feel their anger and they kind of push it aside, and it's something that's, they don't want to feel it. However, when we have anger, and we don't let it come up and be present and acknowledge it, what we do is we shove it somewhere else. And that eventually will come out in an outburst of a really unhealthy kind. So it's much better to allow yourself to feel the anger, acknowledge that you're angry. I'm angry. I'm feeling angry right now. What am I angry about? And just feel it and allow yourself to feel it instead of pushing it under the carpet. So the thing to do though is to make sure that we don't push it all over everybody else that is in our space. So if we're feeling anger, it's really important to feel it and to acknowledge it and to maybe sit with it for a little while and be with it. However, not, shoving it in everybody else's face and being nasty and rude and mean to everybody else. And that is a challenge, of course, because when we are feeling this anger that can be all-consuming sometimes, it's really difficult to not react to other people. So when we do feel angry, it's often really good to take ourselves away out of the presence of other people, or say to them, I'm feeling really angry right now and it would be better for me to just step outside for a little while or go for a little drive or just take myself out of this situation for a little while. Unless you want to talk about it, and unless you want to talk about your anger and they're open to talking about your anger, which a lot of people will be and a lot of people won't be, because anger is something that repels people. However, it's really important to feel it and to not suppress it. So there's quite a few people who I've met in my life who have suppressed anger. And the suppressed anger, it can be something that I particularly really feel in my body when I'm around them. It's kind of like being around a live wire. So somebody who's just like, you can almost feel them vibrating with it. And it's a stiffness and something that's kind of a little bit on edge. And so when you do shove your anger under the carpet and suppress it, it's still there. It's still fully present in your body. You can't get rid of it just like that. And it's going to be felt by other people. And so what often happens is when people suppress their anger will eventually come out. And what will happen is it will bubble out of them and they'll either attack somebody or put it all over somebody, or they'll break something, or something big will happen, and it will be this really kind of uncontrolled, out of control kind of spewing out of anger, which can be really destructive, and it can really hurt people, and it can cost you a lot of money if you break things. However, if you can go to the beach and dive in the ocean and scream into the waves, or if you can stand in the subway in a city and as a train goes by, yell at the top of your voice. I used to do that with my boyfriend when we lived in Toronto, and we would just go down to the subway and just rah! At the top of our voice when a train would come by. That felt really good because you could just let it out. So, you can go for a walk in the bush and have a good scream, or jump up and down, or, get a pillow and have a pillow fight and whack your pillow around. There's all sorts of ways of getting the anger out. And it's really important, as I keep saying, to acknowledge that anger and allow that anger to come and be there, be present. Oh, I have anger now. What am I going to do with it? How am I going to let it self-express? Why am I angry? Where does it come from? So understanding your anger and where it comes from is a really, really handy tool as well. So I was brought up by an emotionally abusive father who was quite aggressive and violent, and he had a lot of anger. And so I grew up as a really angry kid. I had a lot of anger. And so now as an adult, I can understand where that anger comes from. There's a lot of things I'm angry about as well that are going on in the world. And so I grew up with this anger in my household and violence. And so I have this anger that is from my childhood, and I understand that, and I can watch myself and I can watch my little child get angry and understand that. There's a lot of things happening in the world that we really should be angry about. So anger is definitely a taboo subject for many people, and it's looked down upon. However, we were talking about the whole anger and forgiveness and this kind of thing, like, you just got to forgive, you got to forgive. And really, truly, forgiveness is not really possible in many ways unless you come to a place of real peacefulness in yourself. And this was what we're talking about. It's not so much forgiving the person for what they've done. It's more coming to a peace in yourself and coming to a place in yourself where you are not okay with it, but you're at peace with it. And also, there's other things that we don't really need to be at peace with. We don't really need to be not angry about them. Certain things like Donald Trump, for instance. Women all over the world need to be really fucking angry about him. They need to be really angry about him, and women all over the world need to get raging mad at that guy and everything that he stands for, and all the raping and all the abuse and all the violence and everything that has been perpetuated upon women. We need to be angry about that. We don't need to be going forgiving, because that's not going to change anything. That's not going to help anything. We actually need to stay angry about it and let that anger kind of fuel this fire within us and this passion within us that we have as women to protect our future generations on the most fundamental level of their physical bodies and their physical rights. So those kind of things we should be angry about, and there's no amount of prayer and forgiving and all of this kind of stuff that is going to replace that, because the anger will actually drive us into taking action, and we need to take action, and we need to stop those things from happening anymore. They need to completely stop, which of course is going to take a long time. So they're kind of things that, anger is actually really good, that in a way that it can drive us forward. It can drive us forward into taking action and changing things that are really not okay. So there are a lot of things happening in the world today that are really not okay. They're not okay, they've never been okay, and they're never going to be okay. And we should be angry about them. Love can be fierce, and it can have anger in it, and it can have passion in it, and it can move forward. That's what love can really, really be. It can be like the mother lion protecting her cubs. It's not about sitting back and, doling out forgiveness and just being in the love space, man. It's not actually about that. It's about being all of it and embracing the rage, embracing the anger, embracing the love, embracing the passion for life, and really standing up and doing something when we need to do something. And we can use anger as a force that drives us. So I woke up today feeling anger, and couldn't really figure out what I was angry about, but I took the car, went for a drive, come up here, have a chat, and I can use that energy and that essence of anger to bring out something that I really need to say, or something that really needs to be said. Also, speaking about it and speaking about the anger can also help us to release that anger, to just dissipate the energy and release it. And for some reason, that energy had to move through our body, and that's beautiful. That's totally good. So if we don't allow that energy to move through our body and we stop it by not talking about it, not acknowledging it, just kind of, it's like putting a cork on a fizzy bottle that you've just shook. You know, you shake the bottle and then you put a cork on it quickly and it's all like fizzing up. And that's what it can be like when we have anger. Anger's bubbling up, and then we just put a cork on it and you know, it's still there and it slowly kind of manages to go somewhere else. But if we bring it up and we talk about it and we let it out into the world without spewing it and projecting and all that kind of stuff, but we let it out in a healthy way and talk about it, then our body can just release that energy, because it is a very strong energy. Anger is a very strong energy, like sexual energy. It's very strong and it needs to be brought through out into the world so it can be released out of the body. So bringing that energy up and letting it go out into the world, releasing it out somehow in a healthy way, not projecting it at anybody, not spewing over anybody, not breaking something, but allowing it to come up and out. And then your body, you'll feel it. Your body will feel a lot calmer, you'll feel more relaxed, and you've acknowledged the anger, you've let it speak what it needed to speak, you've let it do what it needed to do, and then it's gone. So in this way, anger can be used as a tool to know ourselves on a deeper level, to understand our bodies on a deeper level, to understand our energetics on a deeper level, and to help energize us, to move us forward, and also just to really calm us down. So anger is a 100% natural energy and occurrence that wants to move through us. So when we feel that energy in our body, and it comes in all different forms: happiness, sadness, anger, love, frustration, sexuality, all of that energy, as a human being, we need to let it move through us. And if we don't let those energies move through us, we're suppressing it in some way, and it's going to come out in a warped way. So the point of the whole thing is to make sure that we allow the energy to move through us, because energy wants to move. It's like electricity. That's what it does. It wants to move somewhere. So if we can pay attention enough that we allow it to move somewhere in a healthy way, then we will bring health and healing into our lives, and life will be a lot more pleasant. That is day 87.